Tracy Walder is with us, former staff operations officer, CIA's counterterrorism unit in the Middle East, former FBI special agent as well. I don't know about you, Tracy. When I read that email from Kelly Meyer about the White House's explanation of how difficult it was for Hamas to move hostages, mind you, during a ceasefire in Gaza, it almost sounded like an explanation Hamas would give, not the White House would give.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Leland. And I also want to really commend you on your reporting on Israel. It's been amazing, and it's a pleasure to be on.
It's a great team to have here. Thank you.
Well, and I think really with the hostage situation, one of the things that we really did learn today that I don't think is getting enough media coverage is that Hamas is handing off some of these hostages to other terrorist groups within Gaza. And we learned that with the Bibas family and that 10-month-old baby Kafir. And we know that they have been handed off. And so what that tells me is that some of these American hostages may actually have been handed off to other terrorist groups. And I'm wondering if Hamas doesn't even necessarily know where they are. And that's very disturbing because part of this deal that Biden negotiated along with the Qataris really should have included the safety of these hostages and knowing where they were.
Yeah, there was a thought initially that it included proof of life for all of the hostages. We understand the CIA director right now is in Qatar trying to negotiate a longer truce. Whether or not that includes the return of the Americans, who knows? They didn't get it the first time. This, at least according to John Kirby, is how they're viewing Hamas right now. And how they hope Hamas will, in their words, do the right thing. Take a listen.
We're hoping that they'll do the right thing here, identify additional hostages, and help get them released.
I keep coming back to this, that our policy is we hope Hamas does the right thing.
Honestly, Leland, I don't really have words for what you just said.
You and me both.
I don't think I've ever thought of a terrorist group, and I've talked to many terrorists, doing the right thing. That's not what we associate with a terrorist group.
Yeah.
We are not negotiating with a recognized governmental entity. These are bloodthirsty terrorists, and we are expecting them to negotiate in the same ways that we negotiate. And that's just not the case. And this line of misthinking, quite frankly, might get American hostages killed. And I'm very, very concerned.
Yeah, I think if you were the families of those hostages, you would not really have a lot of confidence tonight, especially after this first deal and not seeing any Americans come home. Something struck us when we watched the videos that were put out by Hamas of Hamas handing over, these were the Israeli hostages, to the Red Cross, then to be taken out of Gaza and into Egypt and then on to Israel. You've done these hostage exchanges. You've been through this. What struck me was how unafraid the Hamas gunmen seemed. In this event, they showed absolutely sort of no signs. There's a huge number of civilians out there. They've invited, I guess, the press out because they put out these videotapes. They don't seem to be hiding. They don't seem to be worried about Israeli surveillance tracking them back. How, in a place so small, the Gaza Strip, do they feel that they can act with such impunity?
You know, I think that that's a great question, Leland. And I thought about that. And I thought about, when we were exchanging hostages in Afghanistan in the very early days of the war, when that was going on. These things were done under the cover of darkness, not a lot of people. No one knew about what was going on. And so there was a little bit more sort of secrecy around those. The fact that these are occurring with the press, and everyone invited to these things is very surprising to me. And I do think right now that Hamas thinks they have the world sort of over a barrel, if you will, and they feel that they can really operate with this impunity and do truly whatever they want because they know that that Israel wants their hostages back, that America wants their hostages back alive. And so I really think that they feel, whether it's true or not, that they sort of have the world over a barrel right now. And it's quite offensive.
Well, and so far, really, there's been no penalty for Hamas leadership, either in Qatar, in Iran with their supporters. So they have good reason to think that way. Tracy, thank you very much. We appreciate your expertise, insight as well. We'll talk soon. Tracy was talking about part of our coverage. We appreciate the kind words Warnotes.com. That is our newsletter that goes out every morning. It gives you a free look at the show. Go to warnotes.com and subscribe for free. The Notes started as our internal email discussion. Tracy was actually a part of it from the very beginning in our discussion about the most important events of the day. It's literally how we put the show together every day. You get to be a part of it. You can respond to the email with your thoughts or join us on social media at Leland Vittert. On Instagram or Twitter, we actually got a great response today. We'll read a little bit later with George Will. That's warnotes.com and subscribe for free. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.